Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Holistically Thriving. I am your host, Stephanie, and today we have an amazing special guest. His name is Will, and he owns a company called Nrïsh. I've actually known Will for quite some time now, funny enough, through my mother, who worked with you, who worked with Will. And we've been friends now for a while, and we are basically the same person. He's just in boy form. And we have the same philosophy on food and nutrition. So Will is here today to talk to us about food and nutrition. He's going to share a little bit about his backstory and then what he's doing now to help thousands of people all over the world. And he's going to share how he can help change your life. So.
Yes. Thank you for having me on. This is an absolute pleasure. I'm excited for all of this. I'm excited for our conversation. So I can dive into whatever you guys want me to talk about. I am so ready to just help change some more lives and share my story, and hopefully we can make a bigger impact than we are right now. But yeah, wherever you want me to start, I will kick it off.
Cool. Well, I guess I should also say that the reason why I've always loved Will is because he's just so passionate about what he does and about helping people. And that's why when I first knew I was going to make this podcast, Will was literally the first person that came to mind that I was like, he's going to be on my podcast. And so in honor of that, you are my very first guest on my podcast.
Well, whoever's next, you're going to have some big shoes to fill. So that's be ready.
True. Awesome. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your backstory and where you started your fitness and health journey.
Yep. So for everybody watching or listening, you could potentially think I'm just some guru guy that's probably got an Instagram and posts food recipes and my abs everywhere. And I am not. I'm quite the opposite. And that's what I think separates not only myself, but our company Nrïsh apart from a lot of people. And just to build some context for people listening and watching, Nrïsh is a health and wellness company. So it's not me as a coach. I'm in fact not even the coach. I help run and manage this company, and I'm the founder of the company. And I'm going to give you a little backstory on this. Was never my plan in life at all. I had no idea I would be here today doing what I'm doing and impacting people the way that I am. So for me, and not like a lot of other people, this journey started for me when I was 12 years old. So I grew up in a small town in New Mexico. I was an only child for a while. Neither of my parents were out of shape, and I was a chubby fat kid. No big deal. You know, everybody told me it was baby weight, just like everybody does. You know, I got my cheeks pinched all the time. And I grew up eating fast food. I was just kind of part of that generation that my parents worked full-time. It is not their fault at all. They both worked full-time. They're such hard workers. And I was kind of just, let's eat some Sonic, let's eat some McDonald's, let's do this, let's do this. And what happened to me is I started to gain weight as a kid. And growing up, I played baseball my whole life. So I just wanted to be a better baseball player. And I was at that age where I wanted girls to like me. And growing up in a small town, there's usually like only a couple girls that everybody likes. And, you know, I was kind of the fat, chubby kid. So I went on the Atkins diet. I'm sure a lot of you guys listening have probably heard that word before. I went on the Atkins diet in full secrecy, did not tell anybody. And I started running about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning because I didn't want anybody to see me. I would jump rope in the garage. Well, fast forward, doing this in full secrecy throughout all of high school, I started to lose weight. And I became, when you're a teenager, if anybody can just put themselves in those shoes of being an overweight teenager and doing something on your own without an adult influence and seeing your body change, nothing else in your life matters. Like you feel so empowered. So like, how did I do this? You know, so that started my passion and my obsession with nutrition, supplementation, and exercise. So going into college, I played baseball all through college, absolutely loved the sport. I ended up having surgery, which ended up being a blessing in disguise, which kind of ended my baseball career. But what I realized by the time I was 22, I had 10 years of nutrition, supplement, and exercise experience. And this was all self-taught. I read every book. I was obsessed with every magazine article. every diet I had tried, every supplement I had tried. I mean, I was my biggest guinea pig because obviously I'm not coaching anybody at that age. So the reason I kind of give that backstory is I developed a very deep passion for helping people just like me, that just wanted to lose weight, that didn't grow up with perfect genetics and six-pack abs and perfect arms. I was the guy that had to work their ass off just to fit in. So I wanted to help people just like me. I didn't want to go into sports nutrition or go to clinicals at a hospital, or I didn't want to do that. All I could relate to was people like me. So people usually find this pretty interesting. I do not have a nutrition degree. I do not have any type of science degree. I am not a doctor. I am none of those fancy things with all the letters. I'm none of them. I have a business degree and I stayed in school and got an MBA. And the reason I did all that is because when I knew how much I loved this stuff, what I knew is I would own a business in health and wellness. And I had already done all the research and done all the stuff that whenever I would take a nutrition class, I would be the kid raising their hand, challenging the instructor, like, are we sure that's right? Like, I just don't know if that's actually correct because, and I had the evidence and the things to back it up. So I knew that I wanted to be in my space, own a business in health and wellness. So fast forward, I started coaching people on my own. And I was writing diets for people because that's what I did for myself. And I was very successful at it. And that's what helped me leave my 9-to-5 job. And I became a coach on my own, doing things on my own. And then I realized that I could only help so many people, number one. And number two, I realized that diets are not going to work for everybody. And the problem, here's the problem. And I know that everybody listening has experienced this. I promise you, 99%. I was so good at writing diets that I would get people to lose the exact weight they wanted. And then when they went off on their own, they would slowly gain the weight back. And then they would come back to me to lose the weight again. And then what I started to notice was, well, Ashley's coming back to lose weight for her bikini body. And then she's gaining the weight in the fall. And then she's coming back for the bikini body. And I'm like, this is no way to live life. Like, I am not contributing to changing the world. I would, if I continue to pursue this with this awareness in my mind of what I'm doing, all I would be doing it for is money. And I wouldn't be doing it to actually make an impact in the world. So that's when I stopped writing diets and I created the Nrïsh program based off of at this point in my life, 20 years of nutritional education, nutritional experience, and working with people one-on-one. I created a program from scratch that mimics how I got to where I am, but instead of taking 20 years, it takes 12 months. And now we're condensing that 12 months because we've seen success with it down to 6 months. So basically, it's the trial and error of 20 years has now been condensed into 6 months. And to this date, we've worked with over 8,000 people. It is 100% online. It is very simple. It is very easy for anybody to handle. We've had people from 18 years old all the way to up in their 70s go through our program. And it's all nutritional education. It is not actual dieting. So I'm going to stop myself right there because I will ramble on for hours.
That was awesome. What a backstory. I think most people can relate to everything that you just said. Like we did Atkins, we did South Beach, we did all the things back in high school, like no carbs, stop eating all carbs. And then what happens is people just end up on this like constant yo-yo. And it wasn't until I figured out about healthy eating and nutrition and the same kind of approach of just like simple rather than like low fat this and blah, 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 like actual food, that my life changed too. And so I've always loved everything that Will talks about. And when I learned about his program, I was like, this is amazing. This is what I was talking about on my YouTube channel when I had a food YouTube channel as well. And I love that, Will just, what is that thing that you say that you just like, you don't want people to come back to you? That's my favorite.
Right. My whole thing is if you have to come back, I failed you. Like this should be the last program that you ever do. Mm-hmm. It should be the last thing. And once you give me like the go ahead to explain the pillars of our program, you guys will understand why this should be even if you take other routes, like, oh, I want to try keto, or I want to try vegan, or I want to try carnivore, because that's the new trendy one, or I want to try this. We are the foundation of nutrition. So whatever path you go down is fine, but we're giving you the foundational pillars of food. And that's why you feel, whoever's listening, why you feel frustrated, because you're like, I keep hearing this, oh, just eat whole food, or it's simple, or you just gotta eat clean. And it's like, hey, no shit, like, duh, I know that this is not good and this is good, like that's common sense, but why does it feel so confusing to me? And I'm telling you guys listening, the reason it feels that way is because you're just not educated on food. You just don't understand what it actually does in your body. You've been conditioned to think a specific way. So what we do, we reconstruct your relationship with food. And what that does is it allows you to go out into the wild, wild west and do whatever you want in however you want to do it. But you're doing it with, you're making informed choices. Mm-hmm. And right now, none of us are making informed choices. We're just like, don't eat carbs, sugar's bad, don't eat fruit, oh my God, don't eat eggs anymore. I feel like I cannot eat. I'm on a water diet at this point, because you don't have a foundation of nutrition. You don't have a good relationship with it. So that's what we rebuild.
Yeah. And just to even educate yourselves by going through Will's Nrïsh program, you come out on the other side. It was 12 months, but now it's going to be 6 months. Like, you're just going to invest 6 months of your life into learning things that are going to take you through your whole life that you will be able to use forever. And then also to pass down to your children, because right, like, generational, people are eating unhealthy and then they pass it down to their kids. And then it takes, sometimes a kid like Will or a kid like me, like, we figure out like, hey, this doesn't work. And then we figure out what actually works. And now we will be passing it down to our children, the things that work.
I'll never forget, like, looking in the because, back then when all this stuff happened, when I'm 12, 13 years old, there's really no social media at all. So, I'm flipping through the magazines at the grocery store. That's where it was, right? Men's Health, Muscular Development, Men's Fitness, like those health-based magazines, right? And this was the era of paid ads in magazine, right? And this was the era of glistening tan six packs and like perfect bodies in these magazines. And you're like, do these people live on the moon? Because I've never seen a human that looks like this. Like, maybe in a wax museum, or maybe like, I know the mannequins they use in the department stores look like this, but I've never actually seen a human that walks around like this. So the reason I bring that up is that was that era of just like, you go in and you look at these magazines and they can sell you anything, right? So I was a victim, and I'm sure a lot of you listening were victims or still are, of like, wow, this perfect specimen of a human is just drinking this protein powder. And he's telling me that if I just drink this protein powder, I'm going to look just like him. Of course, I'm going to buy the damn protein powder. 2 for 1. If I do it right now with this code, I'm in. I'll get an extra ab. I won't have 6. I'll have 8 if I get double. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the era of fat burning pills, like ephedra, Redline, all those X, whatever, like, we were consumed by the marketing side of it. And we were so distracted by the shiny objects. Nobody asked any questions. Nobody. And then what they did was, the perception of marketing in the industry made you feel bad for not working hard enough. It wasn't the product's fault. It wasn't the food's fault. It wasn't what they sold you. It was, you just got to work harder. And that caused a whole spiral effect of negative health stuff and hormone stuff. That'll be a whole nother podcast we'll do. But that's that whole era. So it's hard. I get it. If you're frustrated, that means you're human. That's all I'll say.
They do it to confuse you, because it's just how marketing works, right? So I remember being in high school and ordering pills that I think they were like some type of a berry. I want to say acai, but I feel like I'm just thinking acai in my head. But it was like some type of a berry, and you take these pills, and it was supposed to be like, oh,
Right.
it magically works. Didn't
It's
work.
like, we found these berries from the South African rainforest, and we are the only ones that harvest these at 3 p.m. on the third Sunday of the month, right under this overcast, and there's these animals right here, and there's a light rain drizzle, and these are what you're about to take. Like, okay, I need that because none of my friends have it, so I need it.
You'd be so good at commercials.
We are so weird. We are such weird creatures. I'm sorry.
Because we're desperate for solutions, right? And so, like, dude, if you're desperate for a solution, go to Nrïsh, because Nrïsh has pillars. Tell us about the pillars.
Yes. All right, guys. So let's get to some juicy stuff right here. Okay. So
Juicy.
I want you to really think about this, because this makes a lot of sense to me, and it's made a lot of sense to a lot of people. So no matter, if you were to line up, I'm going to tell you guys what the pillars are, but if you were to line up the most successful, with all the letters in front of and after their names, and they are just the number one doctor and this, with all these ways of eating, right? Vegan, carnivore, keto, you name it, they're the best of the best. You could line them all up. There's 4 common things that they will all agree on. And these are the 4 principles of Nrïsh. So I want you to think, here's the diet culture. Here's Nrïsh. Here's what the government tried to create, the food pyramid. Tried, terrible job, absolutely terrible job. We are the foundation of teaching you what food does to your body so that you can make the informed choices. And I want to preface that because the vegan person will completely disagree with the carnivore person, completely, but they will both agree with me. How is that possible? Let me explain. Okay, so we line everybody up. I would ask everybody, if people following you consumed too much of the food that you preach, is it not true that they would gain fat? Because no matter what kind of food you eat, when you consume it, your body sees one thing: energy. That's all food actually is. It is the fuel to a car. Without fuel, the car will not go. No matter how expensive it is, no matter how pretty it is, doesn't matter. The car will not move without fuel. Food is fuel. If you overconsume any food, it could be from Whole Foods or from McDonald's, your body takes excess energy and it stores it as excess energy, also known as body fat. Right. Body fat is stored energy. In fact, when you lose body fat, your body takes fat, converts it into a carbohydrate, and uses it as fat, depending on what, if you're moving fast or you're moving slow, it converts it and it uses it up as energy. So no matter what way you eat, vegan or carnivore, I'm just going to use the 2 extremes. If you overconsume, you store fat. Right. If you underconsume, I would ask everybody else, if people were to underconsume your foods, what would happen? So your body always wants to maintain homeostasis. That's your metabolism. Your hormones are dependent on it. Your gut health is dependent on it. All the functions are dependent on your energy demand. So that is called your base metabolic rate. What your body needs in order to survive, because your heart needs energy to beat. Your lungs need energy to move. Right. Your brain needs energy to think. Energy is food. Remember, it's going all the way back to food. So my point behind all that is it doesn't matter which way you eat. If you overconsume, you gain fat. If you underconsume, you mess up homeostasis. And what your body will do is it will lower its metabolic rate. So homeostasis can be what you're giving it, which is why if you've ever gone on a crash diet or ate a very low calorie diet, you lost weight, but you gained it back faster. You gained it back faster because your metabolism lowered. That's why. So anyway, my point behind that, that's the longest one I'll tell. My point behind that is portion control. No matter what way you eat, the number 1 pillar in Nrïsh is portion control, because it doesn't matter whether you're eating fast food every day or you're really rich and you go to Whole Foods and spend $500 a week on 2 things. So it doesn't matter. Portion control is the number 1 problem we have in America. We overconsume food. So that's pillar number 1. We teach that. by giving people macros. They follow and track macros. The point of that is it is a finite experience, meaning it is short. It is not forever. The point is to teach you where your metabolic rate is so that you learn what over consuming is, but also what under consuming is. Once you learn it, you don't need to do macros again. It's over. It's done. That's pillar number one. Pillar number two, I would ask all these people again, Mr. Carnivore guy, Mr. Vegan guy, would you ever recommend inflammatory foods to people? They would both say no. Why is that, Mr. Smarty Pants? Because inflammation is the root cause of all disease. So it doesn't matter it does not matter if the food, the chemicals in the food, how it's processed, where it's made, whatever, if it is inflammatory, it causes chronic inflammation in your body, which leads to disease. There's nobody on planet Earth will deny that.
Right.
So that's pillar number two, is teaching you about anti-inflammatory foods. So one, portion control, two, reducing inflammation. The third pillar is body toxicity. This is where we start going outside of food. I would ask the same people, carnivore guy, vegan guy, they disagree on everything, but I would say, would you recommend toxic products or substances to go into the body? Meaning toxic candles, shampoos, lotions, detergents, because remember, we breathe in toxicity in the air. Without our lungs, we can never detox it. So our third pillar is detoxification by maximizing your detoxing organs, taking care of your organs, not some supplement, even though we have a detoxing supplement. I will still say never be dependent on that because your body has detoxing organs. So these people would never agree. Oh yeah, go ahead and put toxicity in your body. No big deal. Nobody would agree on that. That's number three. And finally, number four, gut health. There is not one way of eating that discredits strong gut health. And here's why. Because without good gut health, you can't even absorb the nutrients. So it doesn't even matter if you pick keto or carnivore or vegan or shakes. It doesn't matter. If you don't have a good gut, you cannot absorb the nutrients. Okay, that makes sense. Plus, your gut health is directly correlated to your immune system. So if you noticed, people with poor gut health are always sick. Gut health is also directly correlated to your hormones. So people who have struggle with hormone health, coincidentally, always have a gut problem. So that is universal in nature to any modality or way of eating. So that's why Nrïsh, all we do, this is very simple. We educate you on those four pillars, and that's it. So no matter what way you decide to eat, or no matter if you live on the coast, on the East Coast, or you live right in the center, or you live on the West Coast, it does not matter. It does not matter where you grocery shop. It does not matter where you eat. All that matters is if you know those four pillars, that is the cheat code to being healthy the rest of your life. And I've yet to be proven wrong.
For sure. Those are all super important by themselves, but when you combine them, it's like the secret code, right? Just like this whole podcast is about holistically thriving. It's not just about thriving on, making sure that you're eating well. It's like all these other things that have to be in check too. So like, yeah, of course your gut health is just as important as making sure that you are not overeating or undereating. And actually a funny story about that, I used to count macros for people and give them plans like, hey, eat this many macros and, eat this many fats, carbs, and proteins. And the amount of people that found out that they were under eating is like mind blowing. I am one of those people. Like I very often tend to under eat. One, because you're a busy mom, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's like, I'm even aware of it and I still sometimes under eat. So it's like, most people are always like thinking, well, I must be eating too much, so I'm just going to stop eating. That's terrible. Don't do that.
That's one of the worst vicious cycles, because here's the reality. I won't lie to you guys. If you eat 500 calories a day, work out every day, you're going to lose all the weight. I'm telling you, you're going to lose the weight. You're going to feel terrible. You're going to be tired. You're going to be lethargic, but you're going to have convinced yourself that because the weight is coming off, this is supposed to be hard. This is supposed to be challenging. I am supposed to be suffering because that's what the motivational video on YouTube showed me, that I need to suffer and cry and die and give up a limb and not sleep and work out 7 days a week for 10 hours at a time and eat celery. Yeah. So I should be suffering. But let me ask you this. Even if you lose the 40 pounds, even if you hit your goal, are you willing to live like that the rest of your life? No. And I promise you, 100% of you already have an end date in mind, which you should just ask yourself, if I can't do this for the rest of my life, the moment I stop, you're going to go right back to where you were. Mm-hmm. If not worse.
Yep, 100%. And I'm going to be super vulnerable with you all right now. And with Will, like I did something super crazy once because my whole family decided to do it. The 500 calorie diet that had something to do with like some estrogen thing, or like we were taking, what was it, like HTC? No,
Oh yeah, the HCG diet. HCG, yeah,
that one. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I ate 500 calories every day, and I'm talking like the portion was like, you know, I would make like chicken. It would be like 3 little pieces of chicken, and it was just like, it was mind blowing to me how long I actually did that for. I don't even know how long it was, but I just remember after like, it was definitely a couple of months that I was upstairs in my shower. I got out of the shower and I was like, I don't feel good. And I went to go down the stairs to get water because I was like, I need to drink water. And I literally passed out on the floor naked in front of my mother.
I did not expect that part, but that is a great plot twist. Wow.
Yeah. And my mom picked me up, brought me to a chair, like, and it was a moment of like, what are we doing? Like, this is insane. And that's just like, that just shows how desperate I was to find the answer. Like, what is the solution? You know, this was like, what, like, I don't know, like maybe right after college. And I had tried everything at that point, Weight Watchers and Atkins and all these things. And it's just like, you just believe that there's something wrong with you, or it's your genetics, or, you know, all these other things. And I just wanted to be a normal girl, just like you wanted to be a normal guy. And, you know, like playing baseball, that's awesome. I stopped playing softball because I felt like I was too fat. Like, you know, like everybody can relate to these stories. And so Will actually does have an answer though. Like, just, you need to learn these things. These are all very important things. That's why, you know, you call them 4 pillars. They're literally the most important things that you need to know. And it's not just about, oh, I'm just going to track my macros. Like, no, you need to be following all 4 of them, because it's like, it's your magic. You figured out the magic.
Right. There's no point in just tracking macros. It's like, what's the point? You like, what are you gonna, outside of learning what is too much and too little, which in fact, most people who do macro coaching aren't even giving you macros so that you can find what your base metabolic rate is.
Right.
All they're doing is they look at you as a number, right? They go, okay, I'm going to start you, because macros are just a more broken down version of calories. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Macros are calories broken down into their respective categories: proteins, carbs, fats. Alcohols technically have their own macro, but those are the key 3. So basically what any coach does is they say, okay, I'm going to, depending on who you are, what you weigh, how tall you are, your age, I'm going to start you off at 1,500 calories, but I'm going to give them to you in macros. And now next time you check in, regardless of what happened, you're going to go down to 1,300 calories. Then you're going to go down to 1,100 calories. Then you're going to go down to 900. All they do, trust me, I've worked with all of them. I know all of them. That's what they do, because they're just minimizing your intake. Because if they minimize your intake, no matter what they do with the macros, you are going to lose weight. But what happens? It's no different than under eating. It is the same thing. So if you guys do have macro coaches or hear about it, ask them why. What is the intention of these macros? And if they just say, so you can lose weight, run the opposite direction.
Run. Oh my God. You know what else I loved? What you were talking about with the detoxing. And I love that you said that, yeah, you do have a product, but do not rely on just a product, right? Because there's so many people who are like, well, I know that I have inflammation, so I'll just start eating turmeric. Well, like, you actually have to stop eating the foods that are also inflammatory. Like, it really doesn't help you if you're just taking some turmeric pills, you know? So
That's like,
tell us about your detox elixir though.
yeah, that's like going to McDonald's and getting like a supersized fry and being like, oh, I'm just pouring turmeric powder on it. No big deal. It like cancels it out, right? Like I got turmeric fries, which now taste absolutely terrible. So you're gonna eat the fries, bro. Eat the fries. Like enjoy it, because there's a whole nother topic we won't get into. I'm gonna talk about the detox, but I want you guys to think about this, because all these studies are coming out on stress and cortisol levels. Let me ask you this. The last time you went on a diet, were you stressed out during the diet, or all the diets? They're pretty damn stressful. So sitting there with a little plate of 4 lettuce leaves and no dressing like this with all your friends is pretty stressful.
Yep.
That stress alone is causing you harm, hormone damage, bad relationship with food. It's messing up your freaking relationships because you won't go out to dinner with your friends because you don't want to have to order a side salad with no dressing and not touch the bread basket. I'm telling you, you can have whatever you want. You can have ice cream. You can have beer. I drink beer all the time. I love tequila. I'm a tequila connoisseur, I consider myself.
Same.
I know the best burgers in the city.
I gotta eat
Not
them.
because I have these genetics. I do not. I have the worst genetics. I swear, if I look at a burger, I gain weight.
Yep.
That's how I was built. That's how I grew up. But when you understand these concepts, and this is where I'm going to get into the detoxification. When you understand these concepts, it's like a cheat code, because your body is amazing. Like the things that you could put it through, like the 500 calorie HCG diet.
Long time.
And it tried so hard. It was like, I'm going to try to make it down these stairs. And it got pushed to that limit. But here's the crazy thing. And this is a really cool thing to understand. So I want you to think of this cup right here, right? So I'm going to try to get it in there we go. So imagine your body consumes toxicity. And this is all about the detoxing stuff. So toxicity comes in the top, right? Through your mouth, through what you eat, through the air you breathe, and through what goes on your skin, what gets absorbed through your skin. It comes in, and then your body goes, can I use it or can I not use it? And if it cannot use it, example, a chemical, or the things you can't pronounce on the back of a label, if your body cannot use it, then all it does is it detoxes it out. That's why you go number 1, go number 2, and you sweat. That's literally the only reason you do that stuff, is to detox things out of your body that your body does not need or cannot use. So toxicity comes in. So imagine there's these tubes connected to your mouth, what you breathe, and your skin. The toxicity goes in here. At the bottom are tubes, and these tubes are linked to your liver, your kidneys, your lungs, your skin, and your intestines. Those are your 5 detoxing organs. So toxicity comes in, it goes out, which is why when you're young, nothing affects you, because these organs are functioning like well-oiled Ferraris. Well, guess what? Cars age too. Your organs age. So as you get older, these detoxing organs get a little bit slower. Well, you also get a little bit lazier when you're older. So more toxicity comes in, then can go out. That is called toxic spillover. When there's too much toxicity in your body, it leaks into your bloodstream. When it leaks into your bloodstream, your body gives you symptoms, and everybody's symptoms are different. Could be constipation, bloating, brain fog, skin issues, eczema issues, hormone issues, can't sleep. All these things start happening. And the first thing you do is you go to your doctor and you say, here's what I'm experiencing. And then your doctor says, take this to suppress the symptoms without ever identifying the root cause. So over time, you start developing more symptoms because of the symptoms you had before. And that's why people go down this dark spiral that can never figure out. They never feel good. They're always tired. They're always, I know for a fact people are listening going, this sounds exactly like me right now. This is exactly how I live my life. I feel just like this. That is why I promise you. So our product, what we did, because I hadn't seen anybody do this yet. So I see a lot of people with these detoxing products, right? And they're like, oh, it's got this in it and it detoxes. And if you drink this or take this, your body's going to detox. And I'm like, bro, your body's detoxing all day, every day. It's not like your body only does a detox when you drink activated charcoal. I love activated charcoal, but it doesn't mean that that's the only, you're always detoxing. So the key is to get to the root cause, to your point, is to go to the organs. The organs are obviously changing your environment and your lifestyle reduces toxicity. But if you want the key to vitality, you got to take care of those organs. So I said, why don't we just create a product that has an ancient herb, so we can keep it organic, that has been clinically studied to help that specific organ. So let's put in an herb for each organ. Let's go do the research. So we did. We found one for the lungs, the kidneys, the intestines, the skin. I'm missing one, and the liver. Yep. And then, so we put all those in, and then we said, well, inflammation tends to be a pretty serious thing. So let's put in an ingredient for inflammation. So we put in turmeric, organic turmeric. Then we said, and we also put in, just for you guys that don't know this, never buy a turmeric product that does not also come with black pepper.
Yeah.
Black pepper activates turmeric. So you will see there was organic turmeric and organic black pepper. Then we took it one step further. We're like, okay, we still got a little bit of room. What should we put in it? What is another big problem people have? What did we talk about earlier? Stress. Everybody's all stressed out. So we said, what is an ancient herb that has been clinically studied to reduce stress? Kava. And then we said, not only kava, where is the best kava in the world? Organically sourced from Hawaii. That is the best kava. So we put organic kava sourced from Hawaii and all the other ingredients into a tincture. And we also made it taste good. So you just take it every day. That's it. And all it's doing, I'm going to say it again, it is not detoxing your body. It is assisting your organs in proper detoxification. And I will be the first person to say, to your point, I would, if I had a business coach, they would hate me. I think business people do not like the way I run business, but it is fine because this is my passion, because I'm doing it for a cause. For example, I'll be the first person to say, do not become dependent on our product. Do not. Do not use it as a Band-Aid. Do not. It is not that. It should not be taken for years on end. So I'm like telling people not to buy our product forever, which would be business suicide. The other thing I did is we had a 12-month program and I condensed it into 6. I took away 50% of the revenue value of a customer. That is business suicide. But I did that so that more people would be successful and they would be more confident and comfortable to go make an impact around them. Because to me, it's really, I'm going to selfishly say this, because I was a kid and I had to go through this, I'm not really so much doing it for you. I'm doing it for your kids, because a lot of people don't get pulled out of it like I did. There's not a lot of, it's like you will be setting a kid up for failure if they're teenagers, completely overweight, pre-diabetic, with all these gut issues, all these hormone issues, because they think school's hard. The real world is hard. It chews you up and spits you out. So if you ain't ready, you're starting the game injured, basically. If life is a game, you're going into the game injured. So I do it so that we can impact the parents, the adults, so that they feel comfortable to leave an impression on them. Because I know I'm the very, 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 very rare percent of kids that got out of that trap, and it changed the entire trajectory of my life. So that's another reason why we do all this.
That's amazing. There are so many kids who will be very grateful to you.
I know. Well, one of our next big causes, once we get a lot bigger, is to really start making an impact and getting into the political side of who in the hell lets these contracts get into these elementary schools. And I don't understand. It is literally the most toxic food you could possibly eat, which has hundreds of studies showing its negative impact on cognition, on learning ability, on attention span, on energy levels, on hormone levels. Like literally, they are putting poison into schools. That just doesn't, add up to me. I don't know.
Doesn't sit right with me. It's crazy. That'll be a whole other topic for another day.
Oh yeah.
We can talk about stuff like that for sure on another episode. But yeah, that is like, you guys hear how passionate Will is. He literally just wants to help everybody. And it's like he found the magic key and he just wants to share it with everybody. And that's why Will was the first person that I was like, I need Will on my podcast because he's just the best. So
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay, I'll go. So yeah, those are all the 4 pillars. We also have our tincture product that I just talked about, and we also do lab testing. So one of the other things that we found was people would come to us and they have like food sensitivities or gut issues or hormone imbalances or whatever, and we were sending them to doctors, but it's just so expensive. Like normal insurance does not cover those tests.
Right.
They do not cover them. So that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So a lot of this stuff comes out of pocket, right? And it could be extremely expensive to go to a naturopath, pay for the office visit, pay for the marked up labs, pay for the supplement protocols, pay for the follow-up appointment. So a lot of naturopaths aren't too happy about it, but we kind of cut out the middleman. So we developed our own relationships with functional lab facilities, and we could send the lab kit to your home. Mm-hmm. You do everything in-house, you send it back to the lab, we receive your results, and then we do a 45-minute Zoom consultation, not only to go over your results, but to give you a protocol to fix it using food.
Dude,
right?
That's amazing.
Right. We just see a problem. We're like, all right, we're just gonna fix that. We're just not big enough yet, but we will get there.
You will. I know you will. That's
sure.
So helpful to get your labs done, because that's why I delayed for so long, because it was like $1,000, and like, who has that kind of money? You just shell out. I mean, it's crazy.
And that's just for like, sometimes that's just for the lab.
I know.
Like, you don't even think about the office visit is not covered by your insurance. There's $150. Yep. Then you got to do a follow-up visit. There's another $150. Then they're going to put, I've yet to meet one doctor that does not put you on a supplement protocol that they own. They don't own it. They're white labeling it, but that they are making money off of. Yep. Because naturopathic, some of my best friends are naturopathic doctors, but they are set up to fail. In this world, in the Western medicine world, naturopaths are set up to fail. Yeah. Everything is out of pocket. The only way that they could even survive is by selling things. They're salesmen. They got to sell labs. They got to sell supplements. They got to sell this, because insurance is not covering anything.
Nope.
So they have to hustle. I feel so bad for them that they're not recognized like regular medical doctors here. And it's very, very unfortunate. You'll even find, I don't mean to go off on tangents, but you'll even find that some of the top naturopaths in the world don't even renew their licenses, because there's so many loopholes and boundaries that they have, yet they're helping so many people. They just give up their license, and they're like, I'll just educate, write books, do courses. Yeah. I don't need to follow all these rules that you guys have me on just to help people. They suppress them so much. That's why I'm like a disruptor, because I don't have any accreditations. I don't have any labels like that bind me to any legal obligations. Yeah. I'm like the guy that penetrated the industry that you wouldn't want in the industry, because I don't play by the rules at all.
That's awesome.
It's fun. It's scary at times, but it's fun.
That's why you're on my podcast. People that don't follow the rules. Wow. Well, this is all very exciting. So tell us, like, how would someone be able to start your journey, your 6 month or 12 month?
For sure. So as it sits right now, our new program will launch midsummer. But you could just head on over to our website, which would be Nrïsh.com, Nrïsh.com. Mm-hmm. And all of our information is there, all the way from our program to our tincture to our lab testing. Super, super cool. And we have a really cool code for you guys. So if you go over to our website, you can use Steph25.
Ooh.
Steph 25. That'll get you $25 off the program, which is cool.
Sweet. That's awesome.
That's a pretty big discount. So if you use Steph 25 at our website, it'll get you off our program. $25 off our program, and that is our nutritional program. But we have a lot of bundles too. So like you can get our program with our tincture for a really cool discount. And then you could also get the lab testing. It's all there. And then you'll see that we have a customer service email address. It's team@nrïsh.com. You'll see it on the website. Ask us any questions. We have a 24-hour return policy on our emails. So we'll get back any question you have. All of our nutritional questions go to a holistic specialist to answer those emails. And if it's more of a program or some other type of question, then it goes to our internal customer service team. But we even have like professionals looking at the emails. So you're set if you go to our website.
Amazing. I love how you just you thought of everything, literally everything. It's amazing. And well, before we end though, I have a very important question for you.
Yes.
So tell me, so like the whole point of Holistically Thriving is that it's not just that you are focused on your food intake and your supplements, right? Like there are other things that you do to thrive holistically. So like what other areas of your life do you work on?
For sure. That's actually extremely important. Building in like a daily routine. So let's start because I think a lot of people can relate to this. So exercise, okay? I've done it all. I did 9 bodybuilding shows in 3 years. I've competed in CrossFit. I've competed in strongman. I've competed in powerlifting. I've competed in endurance racing, all of it. And I've done all the training, everything you could think of. And I could tell you the best that I've ever felt in my entire life was the least amount of training I have ever done. So right now I work out 3 days a week for 45 minutes. I do full body. But that's not the key to what makes me feel so good and what I am so adamant about every day. What I've learned, because my whole thing, at this point in my career and my life, it's all about vitality. Like that's it. It's not about a 6-pack. It's not about body fat. It's not about being big. It's about vitality. And here is the secret weapon that I have learned to outside of nutrition to vitality is mobility. Mobility. Now I'm going to explain this to you because I know 75% of people listening probably have back pain, most likely. And there's a high percentage of people who probably also have hip pain or knee pain, right? And what this does, if your body feels tight and just like, which like, I can tell I'm getting older because it's harder to get out of bed. That causes stress, chronic stress. Right? Which can also lead to different types of diseases. And it's just not fun. You're not as active as you used to be. So mobility has been my biggest thing. So every morning when I get out of bed, I do 10 minutes of mobility exercises. You could literally Google this. The ones that feel the best to you. And I do 10 minutes of mobility. And then I do about 5 minutes of breath work. You guys could do the research on that. 5 minutes of breath work. And then I do a little bit of meditation for, I don't know, just hang out with my thoughts for a little bit.
Nice.
And that has been like my cheat code to starting off the day. Like when you're done, that literally takes 30 minutes every day. When you're done with that, you feel like you're already ahead of the game when your day starts. You can move. I noticed all my back pain went away. All my joint pain went away. I wasn't as lethargic because if you have chronic back pain or tight hamstrings and hips, you will get chronic fatigue. It is everybody. Oh, I'm tired. When you are mobile, your body has more vitality. And again, it's more in homeostasis because we as humans, we were designed to move. In fact, we were designed to hunt. We weren't designed to drive through drive-thrus. Like we were designed to hunt, right? Like our bodies can move. So having that, doing the mobility work every day has been the key to my vitality. And whenever I get to go to a gym or do something fun like that, to me, that's icing on the cake. So that never feels like a chore. It just feels like fun versus a chore, right? Oh, I got to be here. No, that's just icing on the cake. If I get to go to the gym, that's great. But if I don't, I did my mobility work, my breath work, my meditation. I did that in the morning, then I'm good to go. And that's my main secret outside of nutrition.
That's awesome. That's wrapping up so many other things other than just nutrition, and meditation is so important. And I know so many people that have chronic back pain that as you're talking, I'm thinking, oh wow, I got to tell this to like a bunch of people that I know that have chronic back pain. And
because look too, right? Like you'll go to a chiropractor. It's just, there's a commonality here, addressing the root cause, right? Yes, you can go to a chiropractor. They're going to give you some relief.
mm-hmm.
Yes, you could go to a massage therapist. They're going to give you some relief. Yes, you could do the cold plunge. Yes, you could do the ozone therapy. Yes, you could do the cryotherapy.
Yep.
But what is causing you to have to go to these people? Like, what is it, right? Doing mobility work at first sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I can't touch my toes. This hurts. This is weird. There is nothing more motivating than waking up in the morning and you're like, oh, I'm getting a little better. Oh, I'm getting a little better. Oh, like, and you're doing it all on your own. And now you have fixed the problem. You don't even have to go to those people anymore. Literally, you can stop going to them just by doing that stuff for 15, 20 minutes in the morning. It's wild.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that little tip.
For sure.
I wasn't expecting that one. And then one last thing is, what area do you feel like you need to work on or get better at, if there is any?
Oh, for sure. This is a really cool question because we are all human, right? And we all have human flaws, and all we're trying to do is just get a little bit better every day. And we all miss the mark, all of us. And there's nobody is perfect. And I preface that because, I was thinking about this the other day, and this might be one of the things I need to work on is the filters we allow to influence us from like social media, right? Like we open our phones in the morning, we start scrolling on our timeline, and all we're seeing is highlight reels of people's lives that aren't even real. And that causes this like subconscious judgment on ourselves. Like we're just not good enough. Like, oh my God, like I don't live like that. I don't do these every day. But you're seeing an accumulation of highlight reels on your timeline in a span of like 15 seconds. You're seeing days and months and weeks of people preparing just for that one little thing that they're giving you. And I think that that's part of our human flaw and our human design is being influenced and having those emotional influences on the choices we make every day. So one thing that I work on is trying to be very present every day. Like, it's like, look, like what's going on right here in the moment, that's really all that matters. Like, wanting to be successful or wanting to make money or wanting to leave an impact or wanting to look a certain way or wanting to achieve this or constantly being a victim of thinking about, the things that happened to me and how I grew up and why did I not do this or why did I not do that? And I think that we lose that ability to be in touch with the present moment. And that's really like all we have. So I would say that's the thing that I work on the most is just being in the moment and trying to, you're never going to get aware. You're never going to get rid of those filters like social media and all those things. You're just not. I think that the key to it all is awareness. Like, because nothing feels better than becoming like aware, like scrolling and being like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it right now. And then you take the action to stop.
Yeah.
That is the most empowering feeling. Like, and I think that's another thing we get caught up in is like trying to be perfect. We're not. You got to understand you're human. Play the human game. Like, have fun. You have such a short experience in this body and the way you look and the way you feel. Like, go out with a freaking bang. And the best way to do that is to increase your vitality so that you can go out there and play. There's nothing worse than living out your days sick, fat, unhappy, on a ton of medications, and just waiting to go. Like, that's not what you spend your whole life working for and sacrificing for, but that's what the system wants you to do because that's how they make money off of you. Yep. But when you break that, you can become your own disruptor, and then you play the game. Like, it's such a short time period. Like, just go have fun with it. Don't worry about it too much.
Boom. Mic drop.
That's it.
I love it. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your genius with us.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
yeah, tell us one more time, where can people go to find you?
Yep. So you go to nrïsh.com, hey, I guarantee you everybody's like, this idiot has it on his shirt. And he's even trying to figure out the spelling. And
I didn't even know.
Literally right here. Literally. Nrïsh. I just won the spelling bee. So nrïsh.com. That's where all the goods are. You could also find me on Instagram too if you want like some IG story entertainment.
Yeah, his stories are fun.
Will Armijo, and my handle is I am willpowered, I.am.willpowered. And then hit me up. Let me know you watched this or heard it. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a message. I'll answer you.
You're awesome, Will. Thanks for being my first guest.
Yeah, I'm so honored. Thank you guys so much. I hope you invite me on again. I really do.
Oh, for sure. All right. Well, that concludes today's episode, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.